Test. All right. Good evening, everyone. So, my name is Rob Chamberlain, and we're working on the sound as we do a couple opening remarks, which I appreciate. I have the distinct honor of emceeing tonight's event. It's wonderful to see so many of you folks here. We have a very long list of folks to speak and make some presentations, so despite people talking or whatever you guys want to do, we need to move along, otherwise you folks will never get home tonight. So. I want to begin just by thanking the Irish Village, Tom McCormick. Wonderful job here tonight. Thank you very much for providing the location. Also, thank you to David Hickey, who's providing the music. Excellent job. And there'll be other thank yous later, but certainly I want to thank Steve Boyson. Steve spearheaded this thing, and he's absolutely... along with his able assistant, Carl Monroe, and several others who have contributed video and technical support and all kinds of items. So there were a lot of helpful people here, and we thank you all very much. Let's start by pledging allegiance to the flag right in front of you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I know that Mr. Plath has been a valued member of every organization that he's a part of. So I know that the Massachusetts State Police feel a loss as a result of this retirement party. The only thing I can say, which some of you in the room know, is that I share your pain. Lieutenant Plath, along with his retirement from law enforcement, is also considering a potential retirement from the Finance Committee in the town of Dennis. I've appointed Jim. I had the pleasure of, as moderator in Dennis, of appointing Jim and the honor of appointing Jim 10 times to the Finance Committee. 26 years he served as chair, and I know we're not going to talk about it a whole lot tonight, but he's considering a step up, I guess, so to speak, or at least a step out to another political venture. So if you listen carefully in the news, you might hear something about that going forward. So, as I say, I share your pain. We are very honored tonight, and this is somewhat unusual. As you can suspect, there are a lot of retirements out of the state police. But Colonel Chris Mason is with us tonight to talk about Jim. Colonel, thank you very much for coming. Good to see you.
Well, you know, when you start thinking you've put some time on this job, you know, you start thinking about 28 years on the job and what that looks like. And then somebody walks down the hall to retire and they announce that they have 41 years. Kind of puts things in perspective and provides you with some context. But I did want to acknowledge Jim tonight and his service to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There's a couple of housekeeping things we have to do with all our retirees, so I thought this would be the perfect venue to get that done. But before we talked about that, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I knew Jim. So as a road trooper, you typically start out on the road, you're doing your time, swinging your road, booking crashes, doing your basic stuff, trying to make a name for yourself, trying to get your name in the Pinchville, trying to get recognized by the people that are up on the second floor. Here in Yarmouth, who's on the second floor? It's the state police detectives and the CPAC. And so I was working very hard to catch the eye of the people that worked up there. And one of the people that I wanted to impress, that I wanted to emulate, was Jim Plath. He was somebody that everybody on the first floor looked up to. They recognized his skill set. We watched the cases that he did. Sometimes they're very complex. Sometimes they're very difficult. Sometimes they're very troubling. Sometimes they can really touch your heart. And, to watch him navigate that and to do that every day with the level of professionalism and empathy that he did, he was somebody that you looked at and you said, yeah, that's what I aspire to. And you used him as a role model. So for that, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. So I do want to present a couple things to Jim today. 41 years on the state police. I wanted to provide you with this plaque in recognition of your 41 years of dedicated service to the Commonwealth and to the Massachusetts State Police. You've upheld the traditions, the honors, the mission of the Massachusetts State Police, and we're, as an agency and me personally, are extremely grateful and applaud your accomplishment. Thank you for your service. So it's with appreciation, admiration, and respect from all the men and women of the Massachusetts State Police that we wish you well in your future, and we present you this plaque as a So if you're wondering what 41 years on the state police gets you, it gets you this genuine faux leather ad folio that's replete with a certificate suitable for framing. So I'll present that to you. And because it's 41 years, and hey, let's face it, we also have HR print out exactly where he's been, so that in a few more years you'll be able to pull this out and remember all of your assignments during the course of your time on the state police. So, and then finally, exchange your badge this week up when you were up at headquarters to turn in your gear. So I'm happy to present you with your new retired Massachusetts State Police badge and ID. Thank you, Jim. If I could clone you, I would. For all the fantastic things that Jim did as a state police detective. Again, working some really difficult cases. Where he really shined, I think, was providing leadership to the new generation of troopers that came up in his job at D7 as the station commander. I routinely bump into the troopers that work out of his barracks. They've always had positive things to say about him. They always look up to him, as I remember looking up to him as kind of a role model and a mentor, somebody that you could count on, somebody you could go to for valuable advice. And so he has left the job better than he found it, and that's saying something. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Colonel. Next up is a man who may be best known for his cameo appearances at political events. And the professional politicians in the room know exactly who it is. But Jim and this gentleman obviously had a special working relationship over the years. We're happy to have with us tonight District Attorney Mike O'Keefe. Mike?
Understand, don't you, that brevity is the soul of wit?
Absolutely.
Jimmy, are you going to stand there while I talk to you? Well, it's great to see everybody here tonight, even some judges, and I asked every one of them, did you pay? We were talking in the blink of an eye, the time goes by. Jimmy and I met when we were on the Dennis Police Department in the late 70s, so we were both in our 20s. It's really amazing that this amount of time has gone by. And our chief then was a guy named Patsy Santamoro. And Patsy was a guy who retired from the New York City Police Department, where he spent the bulk of his career in internal affairs. So we were always a little leery of Chief Santamoro, but he wasn't a bad guy. I'll never forget being at a homicide scene not too far from Joe Mack's on the north side of Dennis. A dishwasher there went home with an individual who ended up dead. The chief also responded to the scene. And as the town of Dennis had just received an All-American Town designation from Parade magazine, you might remember those, the chief was hoping that this could be a suicide. The victim was lying on his back and there was a lot of blood. We were all waiting for Dr. Katz's, the legendary and only medical examiner we had in the state. He used to drive all over the Commonwealth. So sometimes he would be in another part of the state and you'd have to wait quite a while for him to get there. He finally arrived and Chief Santamoro shared his hope about the suicide idea with Dr. Katz's. Dr. Katz's bent down and turned the body over. There was a knife sticking out of his back. Dr. Katz's looked up at the chief and said in his thick Viennese accent, "Chief, I believe this takes care of your theory of suicide." Those days were great, Jimmy. We laughed a lot at ourselves and our superiors. You'll no doubt remember, Jim, the time that our captain, who will remain nameless, commissioned a study on why the midnight shift used more flashlight batteries than the day shift. True story. I remember when the light of Jimmy's life was born and how proud Jimmy was of his son, Eric. The most important thing in Jimmy's life is his wife, Linda, and son, and he has worked the details to prove it. To say that Jimmy was tight with a buck, well, he literally has his first communion money. But we would often talk of Jimmy's trips with his father to spring training games in Florida. Jimmy really had family first. Now, one final story of our time together on the Dennis Police Department. Jimmy had a legendary knowledge of Chapter 90. Isn't that right, Rob?
That is true.
And those who might not be familiar with Chapter 90, it's the chapter of the Mass General Laws that deals with motor vehicles and motor vehicle infractions. One night in the early spring, probably around 3 o'clock in the morning, we were nose to nose in our police cars. And by the way, the police cars back in those days were 8-cylinder Ford LTDs, not these little cars you see the police riding around in today. Anyway, all of a sudden, in the middle of our conversation, Jimmy grabs his citation book. And I said, "What are you doing?" Now, remember, it's 3 in the morning on the north side in Dennis. There isn't a sound that you can, it's quiet as a church mouse. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm going to write up this guy coming eastbound on 6A. I couldn't hear anything, I couldn't see anything." And I said, "Who and what for?" And he said, "Studded snow tires. The time period elapsed last week." About a minute and a half later, and a minute and a half when you're just sitting, out in this quiet sort of vista is a long time. But sure enough, then I began to hear this car coming down the road. And sure enough, it had studded snow tires on it. And Jimmy pulled him over, and I don't know if he gave him a ticket or a warning. But Jim has served the town of Dennis and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for many years. Jim, you've been a great friend to me. You were a great friend to the DA's office. You served our office exceptionally well, and I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. If you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have said anything, but the simple fact of the matter is that when Jim went from the Dennis Police Department to the state police, there were residents in the town of Dennis that were cheering because they had been written so many tickets by this guy. So he had quite a ticket writing reputation when he moved to the state police. We are very fortunate to have with us the recently retired commissioner from the Boston Police Department, William Gross. Commissioner, could you come up and provide a couple comments? There he is. I knew he was here.
I'm here.
Thank you, sir.
Well, climbing those stairs was my exercise for the week, just saying. Come on up, my brother. Congratulations. Come on up, I'll talk about you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm telling you, retirement's great, right? And it's good that I'm back in the village. I can talk about my heritage, right? Then I can speak about me brogue and how I'm here to honor you. And I can speak in brogue because Ancestry.com said I could. 2%, baby, 2%. Man, it was an honor to be invited here just to honor you on your retirement. Your reputation out there just transcends you. I like to tell people, you never know who's watching you. So it doesn't matter what agency, whether it's Plymouth, Yarmouth, Boston Police, people watch what we call the workers. People watch people who are committed to the job no matter what. Whether it's hypercriticism, people getting on your case, you're actually a public servant because you don't forget that there's victims out there. Screw the politics, there's victims. And you were always professional and made sure, no matter what role you're in, you were professional, and nobody can doubt that. You're well known in the BPD, well known by me, believe it or not, because I watch everything. That's how I became commissioner. I'm not originally from Boston. I'm definitely not originally from Yarmouth. I barely found the place. I'm a country boy from Hillsborough, Maryland. So you listen, you watch, and you learn. And I just want you to know, in retirement, people have watched you, they have listened to you, and they have learned. So even though you're retiring, you have a legacy that's going to continue. And that legacy is called professionalism. And another reason it's an honor for me to be here, there are certain folks, and all my brother chiefs, both present and retired, and my fellow state police officers, notice I said fellow, and district attorneys, real DA right there, baby. That's right. Here's the thing. If you are truly a public servant, forget the politics, you get the job done. So you have never heard me say, and I know there may be some priests here, I'm not gonna swear, F the state police, F this, no. Because I remembered that we are the family of blue. God bless the military in here. Thank you for your service to our great nation. God bless all of the first responders. And yeah, this is me saying it. God bless the judges that do their job, and don't forget that there's victims out there. Thank you, Your Honors. But thank you to the families as well. On our worst days, folks, we just want to go home. On our worst days, when we're getting hit from all sides, from those folks they're still living in their mama's basement, but have everything to talk about in law enforcement, we want to go home. So, thank you to the families that have supported all of us, but especially you, sir. And I always said, if our job in law enforcement was easy, then liberals would do it. That's the stuff. Oh, I got the stuff you get to say when you're retired. Yeah, man. So in closing, again, this is all about you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Quiet Riot, thank you. And you're gonna have so much fun. So I recently retired, and man, because of modern technology, you get to catch up on everything that you saw as a kid. So you're going to be well versed on all the episodes of The Rifleman, Big Valley, Ponderosa. Look, I got some smiles. Hey, all you youngsters in here, you better Google it, because I'm going to keep going. FBI with Ephraim Zimmerlis Jr., Barnaby Jones. I'll bring it forward a little bit. Even Hill Street Blues. Man, TV's great. We get to catch up on all that. And my brother, Chris Mason.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's my brother. Yes, sir. Welcome to retirement. Welcome to TV land. And again, you get to say some shite now that you couldn't say when you were working. Give him a hand. Thank you. Wait a minute, I'm holding in my belly. Wait. There you go.
Tummy's in, chest out.
There you go.
Yeah, we got it. One more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. There's my brother in the hat. Need some blue lights and sirens on that thing. Thanks, brother.
Somebody's got to do me a favor and introduce Wayne Bergeron to the commissioner, because Wayne came in here tonight. Where are you, Wayne? You got to be here, son. Said to me, "I'm afraid I'm the only liberal in the room." So there you go. So to the commissioner, there is at least one here. I'm looking around. There are a couple, but I must say, what a crowd this is. You guys are unbelievable. The makeup of this crowd here today is absolutely phenomenal. I would take this crowd anywhere and break bread. So I wish we could repeat this again, but this exact group probably won't be put together again. But wow, you folks really, this is quite something. So take a look around at the people that are here, and it's amazing. So we're going to turn a little personal here for just a minute. And the next speaker traveled a long way to get here, and told us a little bit about his travails at the airports. And but he's a great guy, great friend of Jim's, and I'll let him expound on that. But his name is Dave Dawes. Dave, come on up.
I'll keep it quick. I can't do the last speakers. I'm Dave Dawes. I'm a retired lieutenant from the North Attleboro Police Department. And I started in the mid-'70s, and Jim was one of the officers that I learned a lot from. And Jim had a unique title or assignment, I should say, with the North Attleboro Police Department. The youth could drink at 18 back in the days after the Vietnam War. They lowered the drinking age. And we were having these massive parties. And when they mentioned about the Crown Vics, they didn't have prisoner cages. So our chief in that day obtained a surplus Boston PD paddy wagon. And I mean the old-fashioned paddy wagon. They refurbished it, painted it our colors, and put it out on patrol on the busy weekends, nights. Also the bar scenes, they were open until 2 o'clock. Well, I was on the midnight shift, so I never did a roll call with Jim, but Jim was always on the swing shift. And he had the paddy wagon. That was his assignment. And I say he had command presence, and I'll tell you the reason why. When you went to some of these calls, these youths, Started off with a few guys, a few people, and it turned into hundreds. So our chief's tactic was have the paddy wagon show up. And when Jim got out of that wagon, and it was the old-fashioned wagon, big, tall, he could put 10, 12 prisoners in there at a time, those kids would see him open them double doors in the back, and they'd just start to scatter. And I mean scatter, you'd see them, they were moving. And occasionally, when you started arresting them, this one particular caught my attention. As I'm bringing the youth back, he's in cuffs, and we're going to put him in the wagon. Jim's getting things organized, where they're going. All of a sudden, he says to me, "Go, put the hood on my head, officer, put the hood." I said, "Why?" He says, I don't want my sister's school teacher to see me. I says, "School teacher? I don't see anybody in the wagon that's old." He goes, "No, him, Mr. Plath, that's my sister's school teacher, and I don't want him to know any of this." So Jim commanded double presence out there on the street, whether it was driving the wagon and showing up on a call, or if he was, being a school teacher. But Jim was very civic-minded, and I remember him doing the baseball for the kids at St. Mary's School. So, and he was a great asset to the department. I'll never forget that. You're right about the Chapter 90. Jim knew his Chapter 90. That I didn't forget. I started to learn a lot about that after he had left the job. But Jim was also a good friend. I enjoyed him. We did vacations together. I was really grateful to be his best man in his wedding, and we've been friends on the job. He's always passed information on along over the years, and I'm just great to be here tonight. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3. One more. Coming in. 1, 2. Thank you.
He didn't have that much trouble getting here, really. Next up, we have Chief Scout Executive Mike Riley from the Cape Cod and Islands Council for a presentation.
And the plaque is still here. You may not realize it, but Jim's been on our board at the council office for the Cape Cod Islands Council for a number of years. And he's always in the background. He's not out there in your face always. He's never put one of our uniforms on that I'm aware of. That's not required. But he's always there. He's always in the background, willing to do just about anything. Probably the single most significant role that he's had is he's been the chair of our audit committee for a number of years. And the first year he was on the committee, we met with the auditor and the committee, and first thing he did was said, "Mike, will you leave the room?" And so I did. And that was a number of years ago. I'm still here. So either I'm really good at fooling him or he trusts me. So we really appreciate that. It's not a real glamorous job, but it's really very important. We have decided that Jim fits the criteria for a local award that was created almost 20 years ago now when one of our board members passed away. A man named Harry D. Bud Evans, one of our longest serving and most loyal volunteers. He had earned Scouting's highest volunteer honor, that would be the Silver Beaver Award, and was the father of 2 Eagle Scouts. And Bud never stopped asking what he could do for Scouts and Scouting. The Council Executive Committee has created an award in his name to honor unsung heroes who toil primarily at the Council Executive Board or Council Committee level. And the plaque reads, Executive Board Member, Camp Reno Provisional Scoutmaster, Artist, and World War II veteran, Bud was the epitome of what has become known as the greatest generation. His quiet and unassuming service to Scouting, his church and community are a model for us all. In his honor, Cape Cod and Islands Council is pleased to present this award to those who, like Bud, possess a clear understanding of the aims and methods of the Boy Scouts of America and demonstrate that understanding through dedicated and cheerful service at the Executive Board and Council Committee level. Jim, you'd like to present this plaque to you. It's got that inscription, which I just read on it. This is James Plath Jr., February 28th, 2022. And unlike the town of Dennis, please do not contemplate retirement from us as well.
Thank you very much, Mike. Is the chief from Carver here? All right, there he is. All right, so. All right, they're having a good time. It's the.
Sir, pronounce Kava.
Kava? Okay, we got it. Kava? Okay. So, this is Chief Mark Dufely?
Yes.
Got it right.
Got it right.
I had like a 50% chance and I nailed it. Okay. I asked like 3 people here tonight how to pronounce it before I got up here. So anyway, so I think you're here on behalf of the Southeastern Mass Police Chiefs Association.
Yes,
Chief, it's yours.
Thanks for coming. Good evening, everyone. Lieutenant, congratulations on your retirement. I wish I had some of the stories that were just told to you by some of the people that just stepped up here, because he's an amazing person. I've only known him for the past 8 or 9 years in Chiefs Association, and I got to tell you, he's a hell of a person, full of integrity and professionalism. At every meeting, always brings something to the meeting. We're very lucky to know him. He's been there every day and every meeting, and we're very, very, very fortunate to have known him and to be part of this. I don't want to take too long, but we do have a plaque for him. Yep. So this is just a presentation from the Southeastern Mass Police Chiefs Association, life membership in our group. In appreciation for your many years of dedicated and loyal service to the Southeastern Massachusetts Police Chiefs Association, Lieutenant James Plath, February 28, 2022. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming. All right, next up, from the Bourne Barracks, Trooper Jacob Raposo. Trooper? I know you're here, I met you earlier. There you are. All right. All yours.
How you doing? I worked with Lieutenant Plath for the last 9 years. I started breaking into the barracks, and I first met him, and since that day, he's been like a father figure to us. Everyone at the barracks, he's been amazing. And today, I have a million stories I can tell, but just today, I brought him to GHQ to help him retire, and brought him up there. The whole way, I just tried to convince him, maybe we can change your mind, we can do this, we could go to Fox's right now, take the day off, we'll go to Fox's, and we just forget about this whole thing, retire next year. And it didn't work, but he's been the best boss I've ever had, and he hears all my Quinville stories every day, trying to get Quinville, and it's not working. He says it's not worth that much. Anyway, at the barracks, we got him a plaque. I just want to present him from the Bourne Barracks, like a plaque to the plaque.
He's going to have to get a bigger house.
That's pretty special, you know, when the guys that don't work with you that much show up to say nice things, that's good. But when people you actually work with every day show up and say nice things, that's pretty special. So I'm sure that's going to be well appreciated in the Plath household. We have the chairman of the Board of Selectmen from the town of Dennis, Chris Flanagan, here to make a presentation. Mr. Flanagan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Flanagan. I am the chair of the Dennis Select Board. Joining me this evening is the full board, John Terrio, Paul McCormick, Cheryl McMahon, and Chris Lambden. Additionally, we have a very strong Dennis contingent here with us tonight. We have department heads from the town of Dennis. We have finance committee members. We have a lot of community members here tonight, and I think that that's a true testament to how beloved Jim Plath is to the town of Dennis. I want to thank Jim for for everything that he's done for the town of Dennis. We're all very grateful for everything that you've done. I will say that my fellow board members and I are also very grateful that we never ended up in the back seat of your car. And I also want to congratulate you for your years of service to the state police. So it is my honor and privilege to present to you a citation and a proclamation from the town of Dennis. I know we have an all-star lineup tonight, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. Jim spent 28 years in the State Police Detective Unit assigned to the Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office during the time he was promoted to lieutenant and became the commanding officer of the Bourne Barracks. Jim has served on the Dennis Finance Committee for 29 years and has been a chairman for 26 years. He has also served on the Dennis Water District Finance Committee for 12 years. On this 28th day of February 2022, we, the Dennis Select Board, take the opportunity to recognize James Plath Jr.'s major contributions to the town of Dennis and thank him for his 29 years of exceptional service. James' unwavering loyalty and dedication to serving his community is admired, commended, and will truly be missed, and we're very grateful that Jim will hopefully still stay on and very active in Dennis. So with that, congratulations and thank you.
Chris, just for the record, the Dennis Town Moderator is also here. Thank you. Next up is Representative Steve Exeros, who's here to make a presentation. Something to do with the Senate, I guess. I don't know. I thought you were a representative.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Their company, maybe that.
That's all right.
Brother, thank you, everybody. So this is hard for me because I'm a state representative and a Republican, and there's not many of us in Massachusetts, but I'm proud to represent all of you, especially from the 5th Barnstable District. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this is from the Senate, so I'm kind of pinch hitting for Julian Sear. And I think that's pretty cool. So, I do, yeah. Tim Whalen told me to say that, you know. So, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Remember, where American freedom was born. From the state Senate, an official citation, be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Lieutenant James Plath of the Massachusetts State Police in recognition of your 41 years of dedicated service to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and your exemplary character and courage. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate, by the President of the Senate, Karen Spilker, the Clerk of the Senate, Michael Hurley, offered by our State Senator, Julian Sear, on February 28, 2022. So Jim, from the State Senate and all of us in Boston, to you. And I'm going to go off script, if you give me 1 second.
Absolutely.
Part of what Jim does, so I was a cop for 40 years, and I loved every minute. I got to work with heroes every day, like that man right there. Part of my story is I lost a son in war. Nicholas Exaros, corporal in the Marine Corps, died in combat on July 23rd, 2009. And that changes out your life when something like that happens. And we started something called Big Nick's Ride. And I went from never riding a motorcycle to leading 1,000 motorcycles. 13 years later, almost raising nearly $1 million, giving every penny away to people that need our help. And every year, we absolutely destroy Cape Cod traffic. And this guy right here, with the Massachusetts State Police, runs the whole show. And shutting down the Bourne and Sagamore bridges in July is not easy. And Jim told me one day, he said, Steve, yeah, we take a lot of grief, but we'll take it because of the sacrifice made by your son and all the fallen that are out there. So God bless you, Jim. I'll never forget that. From Big Nick's Ride, we have hoodies and shirts from every ride. And we also have one of our hats. So God bless you, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely, thank you. So I just had to put the mic up after Steve got down, but the next guy who's coming up is going to have to put the mic up much higher than I run it at. So there you go. Next up is current representative, state representative Tim Whalen. Hopefully your future sheriff, Tim.
I got to go through the stack of stuff down here to find where mine is here.
You have two now.
I have two. Okay. Jimmy, I hope you got room on your wall at home. So I hope you got room on your walls at home by the time we get done with all of this stuff here. So, a couple of things before we begin my very brief remarks out of respect for everybody here who wants to stop listening and wants to start drinking. My friends, I hear you. And Dave Hickey is a much better performer behind a microphone than Tim Whalen ever will be. So, first order of business, is Commissioner Gross still here? Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Barnaby Jones.
Oh, yeah.
For real? I haven't heard that in 40 years.
He was also Jeff Plath.
You know your television, my friend.
There was nothing else to do.
And Jim, studded snow tires. For real? There you are. God bless you. You sure you're up with the registry, please? Okay, throw the road down. Jim Plath has been a good friend of mine since I moved down here. I'm not, as you, I think every one of you know, I'm not a lifetime Cape Codder. My beautiful wife Lisa and I moved here with our daughters in 2007. So I've only been here for 15 years. When I first started, I was working out of the Bourne Barracks, and I got to know Jim very well when he was working out of the CPAC office. A couple years later, I had transitioned. I came down here to the Yarmouth Barracks, but by that point, the detectives were no longer upstairs. We finally threw you guys out. They had their own office over in the industrial park. So I got to build just a great working relationship with Jim through his work with the Cape and Islands detectives. My job's working out of the Bourne and out of the Yarmouth Barracks. And then also we get to know each other exceptionally well out on the curb, working the details up at Logan, CSD5, and we would cover off for each other and work the details together and make sure that the job got done, but that we took care of each other always well. Jimmy was one of those guys, he would never screw you. He was always solid, and he was always there. And I have to tell you, one of the things, Jim, you took over the Bourne Barracks after they had had a succession. As you know, Jim took over the Bourne Barracks after they had had a succession, a pretty strong turnover of commanding officers there at D7. Jim, you've been there now, how many years? 7, 8 years? 9 years. And he provided 9 years of stability to a barracks that had had, I believe, 3 or 4 station commanders over the previous 4 years. And to echo what the staff at D7 say, you are truly one of the greatest station commanders, I believe, in state police history. And that's a testament to you, the way your parents raised you, the man that you are, and the family that you come from. So with that being said, my good friend, I want to present you first. This is a citation from Governor Charlie Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito, and it reads as such, and I will read it quickly. On behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I am pleased to confer upon you this Governor's citation in recognition of your many years of dedicated service to the Falmouth Police Department, the North Attleboro Police Department, the Dennis Police Department, the Massachusetts State Police, and as chairman of the Dennis Finance Committee, given this first day of January in the year 2022, signed by Charles D. Baker and Karen E. Polito. Don't go anywhere, I got one more. Told you, we're taking up a lot of space in your walls. If you had a trophy case, you gotta go bigger. So this is a resolution from the Massachusetts House of Representatives that myself and my good friend, Representative Stephen Exaros, worked to put together, and it states, honoring Lieutenant James W. Plath on the occasion of his retirement from the Massachusetts State Police. The cool things with these resolutions, they are formally read into the record of the Massachusetts House, which I believe Representative Exaros mentioned earlier. It is the longest continually functioning democracy in the world.
Yeah.
There are some older countries in Europe, but they have the occasional military junta and upset and changing government that we haven't had in Massachusetts. Whereas Lieutenant, give me a minute, I brought them for a reason. Whereas Lieutenant James W. Plath has served as lieutenant on the Massachusetts State Police for 41 years and will be retiring on February 28, 2022, after more than 48 years of service, after dedicating his life to protecting the public. And whereas Lieutenant James W. Plath married Linda C. Norman on October 8, 1978, together they have raised their son Eric Plath, who with his wife Rachel have blessed James and Linda with a granddaughter Abigail. And whereas Lieutenant James W. Plath began his service in public safety in the summer of 1974 with the Falmouth Police Department, continued his service from 1975 to 1977 with the North Attleboro Police Department, and later from 1977 to 1981 with the Dennis Police Department. And whereas Lieutenant James W. Plath entered the Massachusetts State Police Academy in Framingham as a trainee in 1981, served 41 years honorably with the Massachusetts State Police from 1981 through 2022, rising to the rank of lieutenant and most recently as the station commander of SP Bourne D7. There's only like 6 pages left, folks. We'll be out of here in no time. And whereas Lieutenant James W. Plath has been a member of the Dennis Finance Committee for 29 years and currently serves as its chairman, therefore be it resolved that the Massachusetts House of Representatives hereby joins with his colleagues, family, and friends in paying honor and tribute to Lieutenant James W. Plath on the occasion of his retirement from the Massachusetts State Police. For his many years of outstanding service to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and extends to him our best wishes for continued good health and happiness, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded by the clerk to the House of Representatives, signed a whole bunch of really important people, and then a fat guy from Brewster, and a little guy from West Barnstable, and a bunch of other people who love you too, Jim. So God bless you. And one last thing, and I say this, and people here who are retired from the job, if you're retired from law enforcement, raise your hand. If you were actively serving in law enforcement, raise your hand. For those of you, and this goes for all public safety too, because I say this when I attend the retirement for firefighters, Jim, when you turned in your badge today and you turned in all of your gear, you did so in memory of all of our friends who never lived to see this day. So it's an honor to be able to turn in your badge and pick up the retirement badge, because it's a blessing that we have that ability to do so. And I am so happy that I am here to celebrate your retirement with all of our friends. God bless you.
the current sheriff is here, and I know that he enthusiastically supports Tim to be his replacement. And I'll tell you, after that, Tim is going to make one hell of a sheriff, don't you think? Yeah. Mr. Riley, I'm giving you the 3-minute warning. Giving all you the 3-minute warning too, so there you go. But next up, we are very privileged to have, and this is a rare occurrence. We have a number of judges in the room. I won't embarrass them by identifying them, but it's rare that they're able to actually come out and break bread among us commoners. We appreciate it. But we do have with us Judge John Julian, who is asked to make a presentation on behalf of the Barnstable District Court. Judge?
Thank you very much, Rob. I guess the first thing I want to say to Jim is thank you very, very much for keeping my taxes as low as they are in the town of Dennis and have been for the 29 years that he's been in the Finance Committee. Now, more importantly, as Rob said, when he leaves, and I'm glad he's leaving soon if he's going to leave the Finance Committee, because I'm going to come to the Finance Committee at some point after I go to the Selectmen and look for money for rehabbing Tony Kent Arena. So if he's gone, that would be good. I might be able to get a few extra bucks that I not thought I would get. So I'm the presiding justice in the Barnstable District Court. I know, he might go from one to the other, I get it. And I just wanted to say a few words about Jim and his dedication to the citizens of Barnstable County while he was a state trooper, a lieutenant, and working for the town of Dennis. And when I became first justice a few years ago, I had made a decision that there are many people who come into the Barnstable District Court that need to be recognized. And we've come up with a special recognition award that I've been giving out for the last few years. I'd like to read it. It's to James W. Plath, in recognition of your over 42 years of public service to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Most importantly, your years of dedicated service to the citizens of Barnstable County as a Dennis police officer, and your many years of service to the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as a Massachusetts State Police Trooper, attaining the rank of lieutenant. Sincere gratitude and compassion and guidance, outstanding leadership that you have provided, its good health and happiness, and continued success in your retirement. Congratulations, Jim. One last thing I want to say about Jim is respect. Whenever I saw Jim out in the street, he always came over to say hi to me. He always tried to get me to go someplace where either aside, to the front, to the back, but he always showed respect to every single person that he met, and I really want to thank him for that. Thanks.
Making it work on the fly here. Judge, thank you very much, both for coming and making the presentation.
Steve wants to buy my ticket, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Full disclosure, make your appropriate filing on that, yes. All right. Next up, I think we're going to be able to pull it off, is we have some, what's on my agenda is video remarks. I'm not sure they qualify as remarks because I didn't preview the video, but we'll see. It could be dangerous, so we're gonna loop it. That'll make it go faster, but a number of you in the room know these folks. Sergeant Paul McGlynn, Sergeant Bob Batchelor, Lieutenant Bob Finicom, and Lieutenant Rich Kelly, all who are in much warmer climates than we are at this time, did us the courtesy of passing along some remarks. So Mike, when you guys are ready, roll it.
Hey Jim, Charlie Baker here. I just want to say congratulations on a 40-year plus career on behalf of the Massachusetts State Police and the people of the Commonwealth. I also want to say thank you for all of the double shifts, the overtime, the forced overtime, the nights away from your family, the holidays and the weekends you worked, and the time you spent putting your heart and soul into making the Cape a better and safer place for everybody who lives there. Let's face it, these are tough times, these are difficult jobs. They've always been tough, difficult jobs, and you have clearly developed a reputation over that time as one of the good guys. And I just want to say, on behalf of the good guys, God bless and good luck with whatever comes next. Congratulations.
And you will realize the last day of the month is the best. I can remember back in the early 80s, we worked a midnight shift at Norwell, and then we migrated south to D2, called W2 then, and we did some more time on the mid shift, and then you found your niche, you went to CPAC, and I went to the courts. So basically we worked my whole career, I worked basically in the same building as you. So I want to wish you a very happy retirement and a long and healthy one. And I want to also say to Linda, Eric, and Eric's wife, I wish them well too, and good health. If you're ever in Naples, please look us up.
Hi Jim. No more rides from Braintree. No more people from GHQ calling you, looking over your shoulder. Good luck with the transition to freedom. I'll see you around.
Hi Jim, congratulations on your retirement. I hope you have a long, healthy, enjoyable time spent. Have a great day.
Jim, Rick Kelly here, 61st RTT, wishing you much happiness and success in all your future endeavors. Just want to ask you, what took you so long, buddy? You just joined the ranks of the unemployed and a very select group of retired troopers. Welcome aboard, buddy, and I mean it. Couldn't be happier to have you joining our ranks. I'm wishing you good health and again, much happiness and success in all your future endeavors. It was always a pleasure working with you.
So that went much better than it could have, right? So, the next man up could be the only guy who has mowed Jim Plath's lawn for free. And maybe one of the two of them can tell us that story, because it's a great story if you haven't heard it. But it has to do with Jim's theory of raising kids, I think. But I don't know, it's worked out, whatever his theory is, it's worked out pretty darn well, because he's got one hell of a kid here. Eric Plath is here, flew in from, I don't know where, some long distance location, but great of you to be here. I know your mom and your dad appreciate it very much, so you have the honor of introducing the old man, okay?
The story behind the mowing the lawn is it had to be straight lines. If it wasn't straight lines, you had to redo it, and then redo it again, even if it was completely flat. Anyway, I'm not a public speaker. Not at all. You guys are career politicians. I'm not. I work literally behind the curtain, so this is terrifying for me to look at this thing. It's really heartwarming hearing all the stories about my dad. You know, you come home, just another day in the office for him, you know, the stuff he deals with on the road, you know, the homicides, all that stuff that he sees. You come home, he's still a dad. And, you know, he was at all my sporting events. He always came to all my hockey games, all my cross-country events, everything, all my high school events, any shows we were doing. He was always there, not bringing all that politics or any of the stuff from work. And it was really heartwarming to hear the other side of it as well. Rachel says she's glad you're finally retired. You've been retiring for as long as she's known you.
every year you set a date, and then it got pushed back by 6 months, and then 9 months, and then a year, so congrats. Big thanks to Steve for setting this whole thing up. I really appreciate it, Steve. I know it was, I wasn't able to help as much as I could because of the distance, but you really pulled it off here, and I appreciate it. Absolutely. You always hear that parents are proud of their kids, but I'm really proud of my dad. I'm really proud to call him my dad. Always have been. Always looked up to you. And I've always appreciated that you've never forced me into law enforcement. You've always said, do something you want to do that'll make you happy every day. And I appreciate that. I really do. I love you, Dad. Thank you so much. Just a few last words. Just a reminder, you have to pay for gas now. You have to turn in your gas card. I don't know if you did that. And to the commissioner, he's not a TV guy, so you know he's going to spend more time with his granddaughter now. That's all I have to say. So, Dad, come on up.
All right.
There was, before I begin some remarks, there was just one thing I never really shared with Rob, and I know I've been on the finance committee for 29 years. I serve on the audit board for the Boy Scouts, and I serve on the finance committee for the water district. But when I was in 8th grade, my worst subject was math. And Sister Sumter would always say, third row to the board, Plath, sit down, don't waste the chalk. But we've done pretty good. I really want to express my real deep appreciation for everyone that's here tonight, and especially to the committee that put this event on. I had asked for no event, but Steve went forward and decided to do it anyways. And in all honesty, to get Steve out of his house for tonight, if it took me to retire, it would. I want to express thanks to all the people who were involved with the planning of the event. I've been involved in these events before. I know how much work it is. Carl and everyone else, and John and everyone that was involved. And thank you, Rob, Rob came back from Florida for this event for me. I do appreciate it. I thank you for the entertainment as well. My family, members of my family are here. My in-laws are here, and my two sisters, and I'd like to recognize my 97-year-old aunt who is here this evening. I would certainly be remiss if I didn't take the time to thank my wife and my son for being here. My wife, we were dating when I was on the Falmouth Police Department as a summer police officer. She stayed through North Attleboro when I worked there. We ended up marrying when I was on the Dennis Police Department, and for the last 41 years that I've served on the state police. In so many respects, she was really the real trooper in the relationship. So to say today was not a day filled with personal emotions would certainly be an understatement. You know, you awake on the day you're going to retire, and as much as you plan for it and think about it, it's that day when you wake up. And you drive up to the headquarters and you start to turn your gear in, and the things that have been part of your life, the boots, the breeches, the gun, the badge, all of those things that you have an attachment to that you don't realize that you have an attachment to, you start to turn in. But it goes from surreal to reality when they're going down the checklist of the items that you to turn in. And then the girl just looks at you and says, "The gas card." Colonel, I will tell you that that group of people up there have no mercy. Because after I handed over the gas card, they just kept going on. And I didn't really mind the transponder and the Snowgate Pass and my pass for Logan Airport, but she just stood there and said, "And the keys to the car." So I knew tonight when I walked out of the house and the car wasn't in the driveway that it was really for real. And then I started thinking, I remember gassing that car up in 1986, and I still had a half a tank left. So it was actually pretty good. It actually was a pretty good year. Now, I know there are a few individuals here that had a bet that tonight it really wasn't going to happen because, I don't know, was it 3, 4, 5 times I had already announced that I was going to retire, and I never did. And people were saying the odds were 60-40 that, he's probably not going to do it. Then actually, when I heard that Vegas actually heard that I actually had till 5 p.m. tonight, the odds went to 70-30. So I hate to disappoint those people who lost the bet, but I did retire, and I remember that I entered into the Massachusetts State Police Academy in January of 1981. I walked through those doors as a trainee. And today, 41 years, 1 month, and 13 days later, I walked out those same doors, the very same doors, and retired as a Massachusetts State Police Lieutenant. I walked in nervous in 1981, and I walked out nervous today. But I know when I walked in that day in 1981, I was very proud, and I was proud today. I was very proud when I walked out those same doors today. People have been asking me, what are you going to do when you retire? I've heard that question 1,000 times over the last couple of weeks. What are you going to do? And I actually sat down one day and had a cup of coffee and drew a line down the middle of the paper and said positives and negatives. And when I finished the cup of coffee, I looked at the paper, and one side had more than the other. And I looked, and I basically saw that I own no tools. My wife will certainly attest to this, that I'm virtually useless around the house. I have very few skills. I'm retired. I don't have a job. I have no prospects of a job. So then the light went on. It was every qualifications that you need. No skills, retired, unemployed, no talent. Perfect. A perfect candidate to run for public office. So tonight's not about politics. We'll save that for tomorrow. That will be tomorrow's news. On a serious note, I've been blessed over the last 41 years on the state police. There are so many people here in this room from all facets of my life, from times that I worked on North Attleboro with my good friend Dave Dawes, my family, the friends, the people in the community, people from the Dennis Police Department, the people from the town of Dennis, the employees, so many local police chiefs, people from the finance committee that I've served with, people from the court system, the district attorney's office, and even so many people that I have yet failed to mention that are here this evening. I want to offer my sincere thanks to each and every one of the individuals who are here this evening for my retirement. I was proud to have served in the Yarmouth Barracks. I was proud to have been selected to serve in the State Police Detectives, where I spent 28 years learning and working along with some of the finest detectives on Cape Cod. Some of the best investigators I learned from, our current Sheriff Jim Cummings was my boss as the detective lieutenant. could not have had someone that was a better mentor. I spent 28 years in the district attorney's office working with two of the finest district attorneys that this Commonwealth has ever had. The former and late Mr. Phil Rollins and the current district attorney, Mr. Michael O'Keefe. Both of these men should be role models for district attorneys should be, not only for compassion, but for caring about their communities. My final assignment was the Bourne Barracks, where I served as a station commander. When I took over the Bourne Barracks, I went in with a philosophy that people didn't work for me, but that we worked together as a team. And over the 9 years that I was there, I think we molded together as a family, as a state police family. It was hard to make the decision to leave the state police, but it was more difficult to make the decision to leave my state police family at the Bourne Barracks. And yes, I know those troopers that are here, I was very often referred to as Dad. I know. When I took over command of the barracks, I realized my responsibility for the troopers that work there. And every night before I closed my eyes, I always ask God to watch over each and every one of them. Because as a commander, I never wanted that awful call. And God was good. I never had to take that call. I'll continue, my fellow troopers, to do that every night. I'll ask God to watch over each and every one of you until the day I die. This night will stay in my heart forever. My appreciation is of every individual that's here in this room this evening. I just ask God to watch over each and every one of you as well. And thank you for so very much for this evening. It will live in my heart forever. Good night.
Wow. That was quite a speech. Very few notes, by the way. I was the only one in a position to be able to attest to that, so that was quite something, Jim. You're a great friend, and I look forward to your future endeavors. You're going to make a heck of a politician, I can tell you that much. I want to, before I turn it over to Mr. Boyson, who has some thank yous that he wants to offer, I just wanted to offer an additional thank you. When this event was beginning to be planned, sometime a little later, the troopers began planning their own event. And over time, they learned about the event that Steve was planning. And I just want to thank the troopers for their courteousness and graciousness in being willing to combine their event into this one. A very gracious move by them, and we appreciate it very much. And probably as they recognized, there was no way in hell we were going to get Jim to 2 of these events, okay? So no, but in all seriousness, that was a class move, and it was noticed, so just want you to know that. Next up, I think we're going to be able to get a mic over to Steve. Oh, he's got it. Fantastic. So he has a couple of remarks he wants to make, and considering the effort he put in, he's entitled to the floor. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, thank you very much for everybody coming. And Jim told me 5 or 6 times he was going to be retiring over the last few years, and I kept taking diligence and trying to find out, pick on who his friends were and people's names. And Jim's been a friend. Jim's been a good friend. When I was suffering Jim went off prayer. And I want to thank his wife, Linda, Jay Proposa, Johnny Corfiona, and Johnny Rhoda, who they said they're going to be naming one of the wings of the airport after you, Jim. And I know that's for sure not. He doesn't lie, I know that. Brian Carey helped me get here tonight and setting up. Mike Riley for doing all this video stuff. I wanted to be something different for a guy I think is different. He's here for all of us. So I asked a few of the guys outside, and they said, why don't we do a few videos? And they came through. And I want to thank John Terrio, helped set up today. Carl and Tracy Monroe. Carl has been my lights in my eyes. Tracy has a cake. It's beautiful, yeah. My wife for putting up with me. Dave Hickey for coming along. Steve Baty for the photography work. All the speakers that took time. And I know it's short notice but for some, but you all came through. Colonel Mason, I realize you're a busy man. I appreciate you taking the time. And my one friend, Willie Gross, he said he would be here, so I know we have a Chappelle fan. Thank you. And the speakers were great. And Dave Doss, I was the lucky one. I got to talk to a lot of people, talking to them about this party. And some of the great stories that I have that will stay with me, that how Jim was over the years. And we all got lucky. If you're here tonight, you got lucky because Jim's here, because Jim does everything for everybody. And Tommy McCormick, our host, Tommy said he'd put on a show, and he did. And I appreciate Tommy. And I want. Oops. The last one I want to thank is the last one I want to thank Rob Chamberlain for being the MC tonight. Good job.
Thank you. No thanks required. Really, it was an honor to be in front of you folks tonight. You are one heck of a crowd. As a closing, if you pay attention to the screen down here, we do have a video presentation, and after that, I believe David Hickey has a musical presentation that I think you'll enjoy, and then you've reacquired your freedom at that point. So, Jim, congratulations. Best of luck moving forward. Thank you all very much. And there is a guest book, if you're able to sign on the way out. I know that would be very much appreciated by Jim and the family. Thank you.
melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dreams that you did